We've all been there, haven't we? You've been led in bed late one night, scrolling through Facebook, on the marketplace or eBay or Auto Trader, convincing yourself, I'm just browsing. There's nothing that I need. And then all of a sudden, there it is. The perfect project right in front of you. And it's one that I've wanted for such a long time. And this one is a bit of a unicorn. There's only 222 of these left on the UK roads. Can you guess what it is? Well, let's get to the unit and I'll show you exactly what I've just bought. So here it is, my first ever project car in the work bay. It is a 2004 Volkswagen Beetle 170 plate 2.3 V5. Car meet to go to tomorrow, and we've got a few things we need to fix right now to get this thing moving. So let me walk you around the car and show you what's what. The first problem is if we get into the car and we turn on the ignition, we have, when we start the engine, this symbol here. Now this symbol tells me one thing and one thing only. The alternator is absolutely cooked. And right on cue, I need some oil as well. But we don't need oil because I've topped that up recently, so clearly a sensor is gone as well. So alternator and an oil sensor needs to be done. We also need to take care of a broken fog light in the grille because it's looking a little bit sorry for itself right now, and it's missing an eye. The headlights are looking a little bit dated as well and a little bit worn, should we say. So the headlights could do with a good clean. We have a spoiler. Now the spoiler looks great, apart from it's not painted. So the wang, we need to do something with the wang. Now my main issue at this point in time is the alternator. I have no power in the car, so I am purely running off battery power because the battery is not being recharged from the alternator, because the alternator runs all of your accessories, your lights, your heating, your stereo, all these bits for your car. So I need to make sure I can change the alternator. Now the problem is this. There is no room. So with such a tight engine bay, I need to get to my alternator, and my alternator is right in there, which means my front end has to come off the car. So let's get to work. I am no mechanic whatsoever. I am what you call a have-a-go hero, and with a basic selection of tools and a workshop, this is what I've got to work with, plus a lot of caffeine to get me throughout the day. But first off, it's time to get that jack under the car and locate that jacking point so I can get the car in the air and start working off those wheel bolts. Once the wheel bolts have been cracked off, I can then raise the car a little bit higher and get the rest of the wheel bolts out of the wheels, and then I can move the wheel away with a little bit of a tap and finally get into the arch. Look how happy I am. Now already from what I can see in here, we're gonna need to do some more work in the future. Maybe some new springs, new shocks, and of course definitely some new brakes maybe as well. I mean, I've got plenty of life left on the pads, but he's looking a little bit scored, especially around here. So new pads and discs maybe on the way. To make sure I don't kill myself, it's probably a good idea I put an axle stand in there as well, and then I can get around to the other side of the car and make sure I can jack it up and get the other wheel off in the same way. Now yet again, I would say the same for this side. In time we're going to need to give this thing some love, but I'll get a wire brush on this, tidy up these hubs a little bit. Still lots of meat left on those pads, look, but these discs are scored, and up in here we're gonna need definitely need some new shocks in the future. So yeah, cool. Let's crack on and get these arch liners out. Well, what's left of this arch liner? What happened there? Is my head steaming? I'm not sure if that's because it's cold in here, but I know I am definitely not cold. I don't think these have ever been removed since the day it was made. Oh my God, who puts one up there? Oh my God, there's one more. They're hiding them everywhere. One. Dear Volkswagen, why? Why so many torque screws? Another one. See, now the sole purpose of me getting in here was because up here, in there are 2 bolts that hold on the front bumper. And once those 2 come off that bracket there, I can release the bumper from either side of the wings and then go up to the top and undo those bolts there. And the bumper should just come straight off. Should, but we'll see. Now next up, I don't know if you can see it or not, but just in here, to take the headlights out, to remove the bumper, there's a little switch that goes up and down, just, I can't get in there, just here. And that slides up and down, which then removes the headlight. Now I've already released that side, so this one should just pull straight out like that. Once the headlights have been released from the wings, all you have to do is disconnect the connectors on the back of the headlights with a small screwdriver. You have to push in and pull at the same time. Very strange, I know. And then of course, let's not forget to disconnect the battery, as we are dealing with the main power source of the car, the alternator. Smallest engine bay ever. Now we finally removed the headlights, disconnected the battery. We've got the wheel arch liners out. Now we have to disconnect the bumper from the wings, which is another T25 Torx underneath, just one, and then we go around all the front and start removing it away from the front end of the car with some more Torx. I think they're T27s. Now we have to undo these T27 Torx bolts, and then hopefully we should start to be able to remove the front bumper away from the car, I think. I'm really hoping, because the alternator obviously is down there, like I said earlier, I'm really hoping if we remove the front end, I won't have to remove the inlet manifold, because I don't want to start taking apart those things. But let's get these off and see if we can get the bumper removed. Okay, so plan B, I've figured out that what my friend has told me about taking all the Torx T25 bolts out is an absolute lie. And now I've realized we now have to take off the wings as well. So the wings, the bumper, everything has to come off the entire car just to get to an alternator. I think a friend of mine said this is the definition of engineer versus mechanic. So 5 bolts this side, 5 bolts the other side. The wings should then come away from the body of the car. And I mean, I've taken every single other bolt out there is known to man. So we'll find out, see what's going on. Okay, so I'm not sure that we've got everything off, but I have to give it a wiggle now to see if it actually will release itself. We've taken off all of the bolts on this side of the wing, taken all the bolts off the inside of this wing as well. We've done all of the T27 Torx bolts all around the front. I know, obviously, we've taken the headlights out. We're still yet to disconnect the indicators and the fogs, but they should come away with the front bumper itself. So, fingers crossed, it should all start to pull away now. I think we've done it. I think the front is starting to come off. Oh, yes! Okay. Ooh! And the front fogs. What is that down there? Can you give me a hand?
Yes.
Yes, cool. Mate, you'll be fine, you look beautiful. Introducing Billy! You got it?
Now we're off.
Oh. You got that side?
Yeah.
Okay. Way! Hello! Mate, it's all that for an indicator. So now, slam panel off. And rad pack. I really hope we don't have to degas and drain. Flick that belt off.
Put your finger under it.
Hey?
You only bite once.
I ain't f***ing doing that. Oh, see, imagine if my finger was in there. That'll f***ing hurt. Mechanic.
And who's putting this back together?
Huh?
Who's this putting this back together?
Us tonight. You ain't going home. Oh. I'm very excited.
Is it that way?
Which way? That way.
Straight on that.
Oh, a little bit of a hoya. Yes! Yes! What an absolute mission. Right, now the old one's out. Brand spanking new, 120 watt alternator has to go back in. Do you know what? I'm going to grab the camera and just show them the
difficulty.
the absolute difficulty that is. I mean, that's where it lives. And that's, so talk about square peg, round hole situation. So now it's got to go back in there, mounted to, mounted to this bracket, which what we were knocking it off originally, and then put the belt back on with the tensioner that's there. Everything again, in reverse, starting from now. So we now have the belt on and alternator in place. Battery is now reconnected. What's this? That's for, where's that go? Oh, for that's like carbon thing, isn't it? So that goes there. And now we're gonna give it the first start to see if that light is still gonna come on the dash. So, are we good?
We're good.
Right, contact. You haven't tightened up the nuts, have you?
No. Now try.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Right, trying again. Wait for the lights go off. And there is no battery light. Way! The battery light's off. Woohoo! After scaring Billy with a horn, he ran away home and left me to put the car back together. But the alternator is now installed and the front end is ready to go back on. Well, so I thought, can you see what I forgot here whilst I'm walking around the car? That's right, I forgot to do the front fog light. So included with the sale of the car, the gentleman who sold me the car gave me this as well. Now obviously this is not from the correct Beetle, hasn't got the same body kit, blah, 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 blah. But it does have a fog light, and that fog light is the same as this one here. So that will be going into the grille right now. So it means the bumper that I just put on and started to plug back in needs to come back off so I can do the spotlight. I can't believe this. By this point, I am absolutely exhausted with the car, but the front bumper had to come back off to get that front fog light done. 3 Phillips screws, and of course, put the new one back in, and then attach the bumper straight back to the car, get the wheels back on the car, lower the car down, and then, well, I gave up at this point. I had to go home to bed. I'll be honest, I didn't think we were going to make it. It's been a crazy 24 hours, and the whole point of this was because we are now going to go to Caffeine and Machine for the Auto Alex Christmas meetup. You'll see the car in a minute, but if I'm going there, I had to make my own merch. What do you think? Brand spanking new Fearless Tribe, and also, if there's enough interest in these, you can buy these to be able to support the build for the V5 Beetle. So, link in the description. I'm stuck! If I don't get noticed in a Beetle, in a bright white hoodie, with pink text, I don't know what's going to work. There's one more thing to do. One more thing to do. Out to the car. Come on then, let's talk about it. You're probably all saying, Craig, really? Your first project car on the channel and it's a Volkswagen Beetle. Well, if anyone knows me, I love a Volkswagen Beetle, and this one is a little bit special. So, this is a 2004 Volkswagen Beetle, obviously, 2.3 V5. Now, the reason why this one's a little bit special is because there was a little bit of a myth about them that they only ever made 500. However, if you look on how many are there registered, whatever it is on the internet, ever registered, there was around about 700 ever registered in the UK, and this car never even made it to US soil. It was only a European car, and of course, as everyone knows, they took the same engine from the Volkswagen Golf 4Motion, which also had the 2.3 V5. The biggest difference being, of course, the 4Motion is all-wheel drive. This one, 2 at the front, dragging us along, the way we go. It's 170 brake. It's got all of the toys-ish for around about what you would expect from a 2004 car. But the main point about this is now, when you go on to how many there are, whatever it's called, there are only 222 of these still registered and around in the UK, which makes this a little bit of a unicorn. And I love it. It's amazing. It's retro driving. It's got a nice big grunt under the bonnet. It pulls like a train. I've got a tape deck. I've got a 6-disc multi-changer in the boot. You know, I've got active aero, believe it or not, as well. There's a little wing on the back of the boot that goes up and down once you hit past 60 miles an hour, which I do believe it was on these, the 2.3s, and also the 1.8 turbos. The other cool things about this car, it's got the original 16-inch Delta alloys, which were obviously from factory, and it comes with the very, very well-known body kit from the Volkswagen nerds out there for these era of cars. It's got the Vortex body kit. Now everyone wants the Vortex body kit for their Beetle. Either the Vortex, I think it's called a caricature one, and also the RSI. We won't talk about the RSI because that is mortgage money, and the RSI, they only ever made 250 of those. That was a 3.2 V6. It was made for track and for road, and you'll be lucky to pick one up for anything less than 80,000 pounds now. So for a daily drive like this, and if I look at the clock, I've got 90,604 miles on the clock. For a 20-year-old car, that's not bad. You know, that's less than 5,000 miles a year in 20 years. About 4,500 miles a year. So, yeah, I love this car. It's great. It's a great car. And I think I'm going to keep it and drive it for a very, very long time. So, we're about a mile away from Caffeine and Machine. And I just need to pull over to do a couple of things. So, my lights are on. The car looks great, and I just need to pull in here just to make sure that I look the part along with the car. So, if you don't mind me, as it's the Christmas meet for Auto Alex, Santa's got to rock up in style, baby. So, let's see what they think about me at Caffeine and Machine. Let's go.
Do you know the reason I'm actually doing them on the piss? There is a reason.
Because you're on the piss.
So it counterbalance. No, it's because if I tried to do them straight, I'd fail.
Yeah,
so if I do this,
but then
it
will counterbalance, and it'll be absolutely perfectly fine.
Very good.
It's a bit like when you're a boat. When you're on a boat, you get absolutely hammered. So in the waves, it balances perfectly.
Oh, I never get hammered on boats.
It's like Drunken Halfords.
That needs to be a series.
I got pissed and I went to Halfords and I found some Rip Speed pedal covers.
And some CSW alloy.
I just found myself some end of line discounted Auto Finesse.
So that's it then, guys. Officially the last show of the season, I believe. And that was the Auto Alex car meet. I got to meet Auto Alex and Rory and Taylor and Chris and Luke and just about everyone really. And I was so close, so very close for Auto Alex and everyone else to come out and dare I say rate my shitbox. So, but unfortunately the weather turns, it's absolutely chucking it down now, and I am on the way home. But the question is right now, what do we do with the V5? You can hear people beeping at me. What do we do with the V5? So, do we modify it or do we keep it standard? I think I'm going to keep this car. This car is, I've wanted this one for a very long time, and I think this is going to be one for a long-term collection, shall we say. So yeah, I'm in love with this car right now. That's it from me then, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe and hit that bell as well, so you get notified when I upload a brand new video, and I will see you in the next one. Let's hope I don't get pulled over on the way home with my Christmas lights. But we'll see, shall we? Take it easy.